It's the juice. How you doing, April?
Hey, the juice. This is April Davis, PI, my friend.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for calling in. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. If I sounded a little off, because I actually did a video about this a few hours ago and decided to like listen to other people, and then I fell asleep, and then I
Yeah.
woke up and I saw that you were live, and I was like, oh my God, the juice. I got to talk to you, man, because um, you know, how do we know for a fact? Do we know that this information about the FBI claiming that all of the ransom notes are fake, do we know this to be true?
It's been confirmed through several media sources that they did come out and, say that they were hoax. So I believe it is.
Okay. Yeah, I told my audience that, but I said, I didn't hear this personally from the FBI, so I wanted to be very careful how I worded it when I did, because I'd already done a live this afternoon on this case, and I always, the first thing I do is I charge my mics just in case something breaks, and
Yeah.
something broke, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I went back on, and I'm like, listen, this is just coming in now, and, everybody's on the air, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on. I haven't had a chance to watch the other, like the mainstream YouTubers, and
Yeah.
I was hoping you would come on, but I didn't see you on, and I fell asleep. But, for those that were watching all my videos since February 2nd, as a detective of 42 years, I've said from day one, I've never named a suspect, and I'm not going to name a suspect here, but that this was not a typical kidnapping.
Not at all.
Kidnappers don't stay in a house for 41 minutes. Kidnappers don't send notes to TMZ. As a Hollywood, Los Angeles area PI, I have worked for celebrity, uh, big, like some of the most famous people in the world. And let me tell you, they're always targeted, and there are kidnappings and threatened kidnappings, and none of them have ever worked like this one. And I said to people, like, obviously, whoever wrote the first note that the FBI thinks could be credible, it's because they know something that was at the scene that only somebody involved could know, but it doesn't mean that it was a kidnapping. And I was very reluctant to use the word kidnapping for the longest time on my channel. But then, I talked to one of my FBI agent friends, and he said, well, if somebody's forcibly removed from their house, it's a kidnapping. And I'm like, yeah, but these ransom notes, they could be fakes or they could be red herrings that were put out by an associate of the people involved. This could have been a planned unaliving. Convince me that this is a legit kidnapping. And, I've made my tips to the FBI. I've sent an 8-page letter on who I think the goons were, at least the front porch guy. I've never heard back. That's okay. I didn't expect to, but you're more involved in this than I am because you're a professional YouTuber, my friend. I
Not
wanted
even close.
I wanted to find out if you knew more than what I had already spoken about and heard, because I don't have the audience that you have, but all I could tell my audience was this is breaking over, the media, like everywhere.
Yeah.
This story is going to be viral, by the morning. And if this is true, this follows what I've said from the very beginning. Watch my videos from now until next Christmas. You'll see that I've always said I have a problem with this being a kidnapping. But I just wanted to know, like, do we have anybody like the sheriff's department or the FBI? Has anybody gone public saying this is true, or is this just somebody that got a tip from a source within the FBI and they leaked it? How do you think this made the media tonight?
I think News Nation was probably one of the biggest platforms that released it, that made it, actually true. But I'm kind of glad you said that, because I think this is why it's important that we get a press conference from the FBI
Yes.
as soon as possible, if you ask me. But I mean, I believe it's actually true. I mean, that's pretty much all the information that we have is, that it's been confirmed that the FBI did come out and say this to one of the media sources that released this. And It was several. It wasn't just one. So
Okay. Well, I
that's all
heard
I
that
really know.
over. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, no, you're good.
I heard that over the weekend that Sheriff Nanos made some sort of a statement on the radio, and that he was talking about how he didn't believe that the third set of ransoms that went to TMZ were legit, and he mentioned something that the FBI has arrested, several people, and I thought he was just saying, like, in general, that, well, the FBI arrests people for making fake ransoms, and, besides the Eric Colella situation. But now I'm hearing, like earlier today I was hearing that, no, he was referring to this case, the Nancy Guthrie case, that several people had already been arrested. Is that true, that there's others besides Derek Colella that have been arrested in this specific case for sending fake ransoms?
I'm not 100% sure on that, so I don't want to say, but I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, and then the radio station thing, all I heard was the part where he was talking about us. I don't know what other questions may have been asked, but he did go on
Okay.
a radio station just the other day.
Oh, I see. I didn't hear it. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just heard the reports about, like, he was saying that people are being arrested by the
Yeah,
FBI, and I thought he meant in general, and then I was like, well, wait a minute. Now he's
yeah.
talking about this case, and then I thought, for the last day or two, I've had this feeling that something was going to break, especially with the second ransom note, with the details of that being released. I was like, something's stirring the pot. Like, is something getting ready to come out? And if
Yeah.
this is true, this is huge. If what we've heard earlier this evening is true, it's huge.
Yeah, I
But
believe
I would just like
it's
some
true.
sort of confirmation, by law enforcement.
Yeah, and that's I don't know when that would come. But I think it's
Okay.
a radio station, the radio station that he went on, I think it's actually I think it's one of KVOA's, um,
Okay.
from what I saw,
Oh gosh.
it's Buckmaster is the name of the show, and I think the guy's name was Bill. I can't remember his last name right off the bat,
Okay.
but if you look up Buckmaster, it should come right up. But it's a radio
Well,
station with I believe it's Tim Miller, or it's Tim Stellar. I'm
okay.
sorry, Tim Stellar. And then another gentleman named Bill, but I can't remember his last name.
Okay.
Uh,
Now, I'm not asking you to publicly name suspects, because I know you've got a way bigger channel than I do, and you don't want the liability. But how do you feel now that this information has come out tonight, assuming that it's true? How do you feel about the case?
for me, it stays the same because I've always felt like the ransom wasn't real. I mean, I've always doubted it being real. I mean, I've
Mm-hmm.
had periods and times where I've thought it was, legitimate based on what Savannah said, but also Savannah, like I was saying earlier, she said 10. And to me, that's not a for sure statement. It's doubt in what she's saying. She just didn't,
Okay.
she was not sure about the letter. I think she's just as confused as we are. I think she's pretty much going off of what she was told. And
Well,
I
I did
think,
hear her. Go ahead.
what?
I'm sorry.
No, 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 go ahead. Go ahead. You're fine.
No, I remember when she said to Coda, she was kind of going with that because I guess they had very specific information that only somebody involved in the crime would know. But she said she had not seen them. But then all this other information came out Friday was it, about the second ransom, mentioning that she had accidentally been unalived. And that kind of made sense, because if that came out on the 6th of February and she made that second statement with her siblings on the 7th saying, we're listening and we're willing to pay and we would like to celebrate with our mom, I thought, oh my gosh, they've heard something. They know something that the public doesn't know. Like maybe they received a second note. And that wasn't made public until last week. And we still can't even confirm that was true. But if it is, it's like, oh, this is all starting to make sense now. And that's why I felt like the first couple days of this week, like something might break. And then all this has happened in the last number of hours, and I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, as far as I know, the FBI's they've never concluded that they were legitimate. I think it was just and that's the thing. There's so much noise, so it
Right.
makes it difficult for people to pay attention to fact details. But yeah, in the beginning, I almost thought that it was them that put her up to responding to whoever this person was that wrote these letters. It's been
Yes.
questionable for me, but I don't know. I think that, sometimes I think that they took it upon themselves to respond to this person, but I
Yes.
couldn't tell you.
I wonder why from the very beginning, before Savannah even arrived in Tucson, that she got Mark Kelly involved in all of this. And he showed up Monday morning at the Pima County Sheriff's Station with coffee and donuts. Like, what was all that about?
I have no idea. I know I've heard a lot about that too, but yeah, I don't know. I could not tell you. There's been some weird things. There's just been so many weird things that it just doesn't make any sense.
Yes,
We just
this
don't
has
have
never
enough
added up.
details.
Yeah, exactly. I've always told my audience that we've got a 500-piece puzzle here, and us internet sleuths and people that are watching all this, we've got about 10% of the pieces. So you try to put together a 500-piece puzzle with only 50 pieces. I mean, they obviously know more than we know, but as of midnight tonight, which was just a few hours ago,
Yeah,
we're in day one of month 6. Like, something's got to give, man.
yeah.
And then Savannah, she was missing again, I heard yesterday, from the
From the
Today Show. Like, I don't know, that was 2 days ago. I don't even know about earlier. I mean, I know it's after midnight now, so I keep saying today, but, like, how many days this week did she come back on Tuesday? Because apparently she was off on Monday, and nobody said why. And then I hear
yeah.
these rumors like, oh, well, she's on her way to Arizona, but I don't even know if that's true. I'm just like, this is all coming out so fast.
Where did you
And
hear it from?
just online, people are like, oh, she was missing from the Today Show. She's
What
on her
was
way
it?
to Arizona. But like that, one time during one of my lives, some of my audience came in and they were like, oh, well, Annie Tomaso are in handcuffs right now. And I'm like, what? And that wasn't true at all. I mean,
Oh,
when I talk on my show, I'm very careful about what I say. I don't accuse anybody. I mean, obviously, I kind of had it figured out since the second week of this case of what I think is going on, but I'm not going to publicly, name suspects. But, there's certain people, there's a lot of red flags and certain things that just have never added up. And this does not seem like a regular, usual kidnapping. And, like I said, I'm not an expert in kidnapping, but I have dealt with it, especially involving famous people or families of famous people. And it absolutely, in my entire detective career, has never worked this way. I don't know anybody that could say that they've had a case that was like this at all. Like,
yeah.
this doesn't make sense. We're not being told everything.
Where would you start if you were here?
Well,
Just
if
out of
I were
curiosity.
a private investigator working a case as this, which I couldn't because I was once licensed in Arizona, but I never used that license because I'm licensed here. But let's just say hypothetically I was, and I wasn't on, breast cancer disability, and I wasn't, 99% retired. I would handle it like I would handle any case. There's no body yet, so there's no autopsy report. So since I can't have that, I would have my list and I would start interviewing the people closest to her first, the family, but then the friends, anybody that worked in the house, anybody that worked on the property, anybody that's lived in the casita for the past, 3 to 5 years. Then once I had, all my ducks in a row, I'd want to have access to records if I could. If it was a litigated case, I'd have subpoena power, and I'd want to have all the financials, especially of family members, just because you always have to exclude the people closest to her. And once I had my list and I had all my ducks in a row, then I would have my suspects and I would start doing surveillance, 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 surveillance. And it would be all different types of surveillance that could legally be conducted because somebody's going to do something stupid because criminals are stupid and somebody's going to make a mistake.
So do you think it's questionable that they've been missing for so long and they haven't really came out and, said anything at all? Would you
I
look that
think
way?
I thought they had somebody in mind to begin with, but I've also heard that the sheriff has relationships with certain people in that town.
Yeah.
And I would have never, as a police officer or even as a private detective, I would have never released that scene because in my show today, somebody said, what do you think the number one mistake was on this case? And I said, releasing the scene too soon because it was already trampled all over before the FBI got there. They didn't get there till the 5th. Remember, they didn't even know the first day this was a kidnapping. They just reported Sunday night that the 84-year-old mother of Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, that Nancy Guthrie was a missing senior.
Yeah.
It wasn't until a day or two later that the public was told, like, oh, we have ransom notes now. It wasn't even until Tuesday, the 3rd, that the notes started coming in to TMZ.
Yeah.
We didn't know that. And then it wasn't until day 9 that the world was shown a video clip of Front Porch Guy that, look, here he is. And then it was weeks later, oh, here he is again, but this is on another night showing that this house was being cased. But that still doesn't mean it's some random Yahoo, because whoever did this had to know somebody who had intimate knowledge of the property. The fact that the police, it almost is like, was it intentional that they just, let everybody trample this? Who are they covering for? I've never seen a police department ever act this way. I mean, the closest thing I could compare it to were the non-homicide detectives that were in charge of the John Benet Ramsey case. And that's why 30 years later, they still haven't solved it. I pretty much have, but once again, I won't go public on my YouTube channel or anywhere and say, this person, and this person is involved. Now, I have publicly stated that, the Ramseys, they didn't do it at all. And I think I pretty much know what has happened there, but, they were non-homicide detectives.
So you think
and
you
I
have
heard,
most of this case solved?
Absolutely, if I were
Really?
In the sheriff's department. But I can't say for sure without knowing what they know. But see, the FBI, they have not only DNA and forensics, but they have accountants, forensic accountants. They can look at all the bank statements. They can look at the life insurance policies. They can look at wills, estates, trusts, loans. I was the first YouTuber that I know of in this case, and I wasn't even monetized when I started talking about this, that said there is a document online that said that Nancy did a second mortgage on her house in 2017. And I have a copy of that document. I'd have to find it now, but, no other YouTubers were running with that. And I said, listen, I've never done a title search on this property, but I want to know why a woman of her age, and she would have been in her 70s in 2017, mid-70s, why did she take out a loan for this amount, for this payment? It could just be for maintenance on the house. But, to me, that was that's something worth questioning. And if I were investigating this case, I would be asking about that. And I'd be doing the title searches. And I'd be looking at the bank statements and the credit card statements and the phone records. And I'd be looking at not just her statements, but the people closest to her.
Yeah, those are reasons why I think that they've got a majority of this already figured out and a person of interest for sure. That's just me though. I mean, some people think that we're going in the cold direction, but I truly think they have a person that they're very interested in. To be quite frank, I think that they're waiting for that person to either come forward and also, they're also taking this information to the DA and somehow coming up short as if it's not enough. But
yes, that it's not enough to prosecute.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, maybe if they hadn't compromised the crime scene, what bothers me about this case is that the police unsecured that scene too quickly, and Sheriff Nanos immediately put out 2 different timelines of what happened on Sunday morning, February 1st. Now, why would you do that?
Yeah. It's weird. It
Why?
really is. It really is. And
And
I
you're
would,
speaking.
once I've learned about
Go-
the, what's her name? I think it's Laura O'Connor. My God, what's her last name? The power
Who
of
are we
attorney.
speaking of?
The huh? No. I'm trying to recall her name. It's Laura, but I
Okay.
can't remember her last name. You know,
And what about her?
well, I just feel like it's just scary because she's made a mistake at one point in time in her career. And, from what I've seen, it seems like she's taken some money, under the table during a case at a point in time. They just don't like the feds. They don't like the feds, Nanos and the guy that supposedly changed his name. And then the lady that's in charge of the prosecution process and whatnot.
Okay.
She's scary to me. I don't know. I just
Yeah, I
something
don't know who
isn't
you're
right.
talking about, though.
It's
Laura
Laura.
somebody.
It's
I'm
Laura,
like,
but I can't remember her last name. I'm sure everybody in the chat would
is
know.
does she work for the county of Pima? Or
Oh
is
yeah,
she?
yeah. She's
Oh, okay.
my goodness, I don't know why she's a district
I wish I
attorney.
could
Yeah,
remember.
she's I can't remember what you call it, but she's the district attorney. She's
Is she a
in charge.
prosecutor?
She's in charge. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a prosecutor. She's the one who pretty much
Is-
makes the calls, for the most part.
Okay. Okay.
And then under Nanos, you got the gentleman that changed his name. I don't know why I can't even remember his name right now. My mind is just blank right now. But he's
It's
a
okay. It's
chief.
the middle of the night, Duchess.
Yeah.
We're both sleep deprived,
I
right?
just talked about this yesterday. I don't know how I forgot his name. But it's just scary to me, because I just think that they're working together. They're not. I feel like they're on the same page as Sheriff Nanos.
Okay.
I think that. I don't even want to say. I can't. I'm trying not to say too much because I'm.
Right.
I have court and stuff, so I can't really.
Oh, I understand.
I can't really dive in too much, so I'm trying to watch my. I'm trying to watch my toes.
Oh, please be careful. Please be careful.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
I don't even like talking about them. It's actually scary, but.
Well, people come into my show all the time and they're like, April, who did it? Most people understand when I say, well, I have a public YouTube channel, and I am a licensed private investigator, and I do have a background in things that were very similar to this. I'm not going to publicly state. Most people are nice about it and they get it. Like, come on, you idiots and you trolls in the chat. Like, she can't say that. But some people get really mad. Like, oh, this is wasting my time. And, you're just doing this for the money. I'm like, I wasn't even monetized when this started. I'm not getting rich off of this. I want to find Nancy Guthrie.
But at the same
That's
time,
all
it's
I
a
care
business.
about.
I mean, it's still a business. I mean, everybody's goal when they're on YouTube, their goal is to be monetized. Their goal is to gain some type of revenue, doing this. Obviously, that's not all of their goal as far as, what
Right.
they do. But I mean, I don't know why people have an issue with that, or they try to make it's
I
just
know.
trolls. It's just trolls. You gotta ignore
I know,
all
like,
that.
well, when I first started, I wasn't, I'd only been briefly monetized for like a few months in like 2024, 2025, and then it ended, and I wasn't expecting that to ever happen again. And then, once this started going, and then it did happen, people are like, oh, your videos have commercials now. And I'm like, that's YouTube monetization. And you know how many thousands of dollars I would have to make just from these videos to break even? I've been doing this since December 2020. I'm not ahead. I'm still in the red. If I had to do this for a living, I'm a failure, man. It's a good thing I had you know, a 42-year or 35 plus year PI career before, you
Yeah.
know, disaster hit.
Yeah.
You know, it
Hey,
was catastrophic to
hey,
my life.
you're growing at least at some point in time, even if you know you are and then you aren't. I mean, at least you're making some type of progress. So
A
that's good.
little bit. After 5 years, I've got like 3,500.
Yeah,
Now,
but
there's about
that's good.
100,000 views in the last 28 days, and for me, that's terrific.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, but you know,
That's
I'm
good.
not, you know, the juice or
Oh,
JLR or
I'm
somebody
I'm
like that.
I'm nothing. I got a long way to go. I really do. And maintaining is the hardest part. So, you know,
Oh, you're doing awesome, man.
this may last a couple more months and then I might be down to 20 viewers every time I go live. So I don't ever take
Right,
anything for
right.
granted. So
But see,
it could
you're
be
the real
temporary.
deal, and you're the real deal. You're not doing this for show. Like, you're an
Yeah.
honest man, and you know, I'm not all about flash either. Like, I'm not clickbait titles and thumbnails because, you know,
Yeah.
I'm a PI. It's just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. You know, and if somebody doesn't like it, they don't have to watch. But, you know, I want to keep this case relevant as you do, as all the
Yeah.
YouTubers do. You know, let's keep it relevant. Let's put the pressure on whoever's involved in this so that somebody comes forward, you know.
I
That
agree.
Dr. Bricado said, let's keep beating that drum. And it's like,
Yep.
exactly. Exactly.
He's got an
That's
interesting
why I'm
mouth.
doing this. That's why I'm up in the middle of the night talking to you, man, and you know, talking to your audience. Like,
Yeah.
I want this done, and I just feel so bad for Savannah, you know,
Yeah.
and grandkids and everybody involved. Because can you imagine how catastrophic, even more so than it already is going to be if this crime does involve somebody extremely close to Nancy. Just
I,
imagine.
I'll be surprised, but I won't be surprised at the same time. Uh,
Right.
it's just the way everything has gone. To me at this point, what can really surprise me? I mean,
I know, but the family's got to be in denial, though. You know, like I
yeah,
know that you know everybody's like they're showing a united front, but that united front is fractured, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
And I just, you know, this is already a terrible thing. I don't think she's, you know, with us in the living sense anymore, as far as Nancy. But I could just, poor Savannah, her heart's just going to be in a billion pieces if it goes the way that, you know, she doesn't want it to go. And that's all I'm going to say.
yeah. Well, I won't hold you too much longer. I truly appreciate you calling in. I wish we could talk a little bit longer.
Well, thank you for
When you,
answering my call, man.
yeah, anytime. When you get a chance, look up Laura Conover. She's this,
Laura Conover, okay.
yes, she's like I said, she's a power of attorney. She's the big boss lawyer for Pima County. So her job,
Great, okay.
she kind of decides amongst the people that like breaks the rules and like what should happen to them. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with how that kind of goes.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, she's pretty much the lawyer helper for like the state bar.
Oh,
Um,
fantastic, okay.
well, not that. I guess she's the power of attorney. So I mean, look that up when
Okay,
you get a chance.
I
You'll know more
will.
about it. I don't want to talk too much about her because I talked about her yesterday, and she could have something to do with everything that's going on and everything. So I don't want to
Exactly.
get too deep into her. And then Joe Cameron, check him out when you get a chance as well.
Okay.
And you'll kind of hear, kind of understand things a little bit more, or watch the interview room because he's the one who
Okay.
talked about those two along with
Oh,
Mr.
I can't wait. I will definitely do that, my friend.
Mr.
And
No
you know,
No.
I fully support you, Troy.
Hey, likewise, you
A
got my
hundred
support
percent.
as well. I appreciate that.
Thank you, and thank you to your audience for listening to me just like ramble on here. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
it's all right. It's fine. It's It's all right. We haven't
But
caught up in a little while, so that's okay.
yeah, it's nice talking to you, man.
Hey, you too, April. Thanks for calling.
Okay, love you.
All right, love you too.
Bye bye.
Man, shouts to April calling in, man. She's a PI. Man, shouts to her calling in. I always enjoy her calls.